Hello, internets, and welcome back to JL Plays. This week, I will be talking about two movies. One being a 2010 film, The Next 3 Days, starring Russell Crowe. The other is White Tiger, a Netflix film. But first, let's get into some gaming. Game over, yeah! First things first. One of the main games that I'm playing right now, it's through Xbox Game Pass. It's called The Medium, and quite frankly, it is very interesting game. I enjoy it very much. The puzzles are very challenging. The concept of the game is pretty interesting. It takes you between two worlds. Think Silent Hill, where you have the real world, and then you have the other dimension. But in this case, because she's a medium, I guess it's the afterlife. Yeah, she basically jumps between both worlds, but there's a unique gameplay where the game gives you a split screen of you in the current world and you in the afterlife part, and you have and your character has powers in the afterlife world that you know that she doesn't have in the real world, obviously. So and you play through both. Once in split screen, you are seeing both worlds at the same time, and and from there you just move the character and figure out what puzzles you need to solve to continue. Unfortunately, because the game is a single fixed camera, so there's no 3D movement whatsoever. It kind of, for me, it helps, but at the same time hinders the game for me, because for me, I want to see more of the world. Like, I would like to see a 360 view of the world, just because I love the art style. I would like to see more of the world, but yeah, I think that's just me. And but overall, the game seems to be really good so far. The story's a bit lackluster for me, but but I am enjoying it, considering it is on Game Pass, so I'm not really paying anything extra for it. I just download it and play it. And yeah, and if you don't have Game Pass, I suggest you get it. It's You're gonna save yourself so much money over the years, just paying whatever they. If you just want PC, it's $10 a month, US dollars, that is. And if you want PC, cloud gaming, and have it on a console, that's $15 a month. So I think it's well worth it, considering games are going up to 70 or even $80. And this is just gonna be a great value in the long run, as far as saving money wise. And I think this is the new way to play games. As far as I'm concerned, I don't have to buy games anymore. I just have to pay this subscription fee, and I get a bunch of top tier games for no extra charge. I think that's awesome. But yeah, the medium itself is interesting. Like I said, more of a more of a puzzle game. Right now, I am stuck at a certain part, which I've been trying to figure out how to get through, and it's very challenging. I do admit that there's been twice already that this is the second time I got stuck in a puzzle, and I can't wait to figure out how to get out of it. So if you're looking for something to play the medium. Also, I've been playing The Sense. It's almost a similar game, quite frankly. It's quite interesting that I have no clue what these two games were about. I just bought them. I just got them on a whim. And Sense is almost the same thing, but it's a cyberpunk game, and it's same style. Is Sense is more of a Silent Hill, I think, than the medium is, where you are just you, and you got to go through these ghosts, and you have no real control of when the transition of between worlds is going to happen. However, the game itself is very I found it stiff. The one thing I did not like about Sense is the fact that I noticed once I died to do the puzzles, you can't just go through the room or like you say you found something and that's in one spot. It's there in one spot, but then you can't grab it. You just gotta you just look at it. Oh, it's something there, and you move on. But then later on, you go continue, and next you know, I need this. I need that thing that I needed that thing. So now you have to backtrack, go grab that thing if you can, because you have to do everything in a sequence. That's the only thing I don't like about Sense. That all the puzzles have to be done in the right order. If you don't do it in the right order, if you find something beforehand or you know where something is after you died, you still can't grab it and just take it with you to use it when you need it. You have to go through the whole story arc, then do everything exactly as the story tells you. There is no diversion from it whatsoever. That's my only drawback with the game. It's like it's just linear. You have to do it this way, and that's it. There's no other way to do it. And in the medium, there is that same thing. You have to do it in a certain way, but that's just because the clues lead you into that direction. But you don't have to like you could grab the item once you got the item. Once you figure out the item, that's what the puzzle requires two or three different items. You could go around grabbing the two or three different items, then go back and place them into the position that you need, or you could just put it one at a time. That's I think a little bit better. Gives you the illusion of a bit more freedom in the game compared to the senses or sense, sorry. And yeah, is just one of those little quirks I find in game that it kind of takes you out of it a lot of the times for me, and that's disappointing. But overall, the games are very fun. Again, they're both similar games, so I just was not expecting them to be similar games whatsoever. That was the only thing about those two games. But now let's move on to something else. Let me continue with my talk about Stargate. Quite frankly, I have been binge watching the heck out of these season, this show for the past 2 months now, and yeah, it's I'm having so much fun reliving this show. It's ridiculous. Stargate SG One was one of my favorite shows, and continues to be one of my favorite sci-fi shows of all time, especially with the episode I just saw. Heroes Part 1 and 2. It's from season 7, which is what I'm up to already. As you can see, yes, I've been binge watching the heck out of this show from from the fact that I'm on season 7 already. But let me get back to it. Heroes is one of those two-parters that if you don't watch the entire you don't even have to watch the entire show, the entire series, but it gives it more of a punch to the gut than if you just watch those two episodes. Now you could watch those two episodes and experience the same sadness that they're going through because the actors are doing such great work with the characters that you can the emotional baggage that it gives you, but the fact you watch it from the beginning to that current season, from season 1 to season 7, and you get to that episode and what happens in that episode in episode 2 with that character is so devastating and it's so sad that it actually made me tear up. It really made me tear up, and I was like, oh man, this is so depressing. Worst thing is I barely remember this episode, but when it got to that scene, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what happened. And I'm like, oh, I was so stricken with such remorse for the character. Yeah, it's like obviously by the what I'm saying, you can obviously figure out what happened to the character, but I'm not saying which character it is. But yeah, if you want to watch it, go and just watch it, or at least watch like 2 or 3 episodes beforehand to give you a little bit more connection with the characters on the show. So yeah, just do that. But yeah, anybody that has a military family member or lost someone, or in general fight for freedom, it doesn't matter who you are. I think you should watch that episode. That shows you what a lot of soldiers and what military family, what military friends, what people go through when the field of battle, and it's very heartbreaking, very heart wrenching. Yeah, that episode to me is a 10. Those two, actually two parter. A two parter is a 10 out of 10. Honestly, I don't think any episode can get any better than those two. Any show can give you the baggage that those two episodes give you in the feelings, the emotions. Those is just ridiculously well done, and I truly love the fact that it gives you that it waited, it held itself, and the only reason it works so well is because of the fact if you've been watching the show from season one to then, it makes it even more heart wrenching and more heartbreaking. But that's it for SG1. I think I'm gonna talk about it. If I'm gonna talk about it, I probably have to make another podcast just for SG1. But yeah, so that's it for this. All my rambles for this week. Let me move on to the next two shows, or I should say that our feature presentations of the films of the next 3 days and White Tiger. So here we go.
You ready? Line it up. Here he goes back. Now you say go.
All right, squeeze in.
You can't do this every morning. It's way too corny.
It's just till he's 18. Smile.
I got it.
Pittsburgh police, this is arrest warrant.
You're under arrest for murder.
Forget that Laura's your wife. Look at the evidence. I've seen the evidence. She's innocent.
It doesn't matter what we believe. Laura is not getting out.
What do you want to know?
How you escaped when no one else could.
You have to have the entire plan already in place. You have to ask yourself, can you kill a god? Because to do this thing, that's who you have to become. If you can't, don't start. You'll just get someone killed.
Show me where the bullets go.
You want this too much. You're gonna screw it up.
Why are you doing it?
The police can have the center of the city sealed tight in 15 minutes.
What if you can't get out?
Then surrender, because they will shoot you on sight.
And that was a short clip from the trailer of the next 3 days, right now on Netflix, starring Russell Crowe and Elizabeth Banks. A quick synopsis of the movie. A married couple's life is turned upside down when the wife is accused of murder and sentenced to 20 years in prison. So, yes, and that's what the movie's about. It's about Russell Crowe's wife, played by Elizabeth Banks, whose boss was murdered, and by circumstance she was accused of the murder and found guilty of the murder. So thus she was sentenced to jail. And Russell Crowe now has to take care of their son by himself, but he cannot get over the fact that she's an innocent woman, and he knows for a fact that she didn't do it and she's innocent, and he's trying to figure out. Now Russell Crowe becomes obsessed with him trying to get his wife out of prison in any way he can, and he figures the only way he can do it is by creating an escape plan and creating a breakout for his wife, which he learns how to do certain things online by doing research, getting all the information he can. There's a cameo by Liam Neeson here, which was just to give Russell Crowe the idea. Liam Neeson's character writes a book of his time, of the 7 times that he escaped prison and how he did it. And so Russell Crowe goes out and tries to do the same thing. He almost gets caught because he screws up. He screws up a couple of times. Where one point he tries to figure out where he could get some fake IDs, fake passports, and so on. And he gets robbed by the criminals, because obviously. But then he meets another person who tells him, this is how much it's gonna cost you. This is what we're gonna give you, and this is when and where. And the criminal even foreshadows it. This person, the person that gives him the actual documents, even foreshadows it in the movie for him, that you want this too much, you're gonna fuck it up. And quite frankly, yeah, he wants it too much, and he does fuck it up. Yeah, and that's where this movie just continues. It just continues spiraling. Yeah, it just keeps going and keep going. This movie was made and released in 2010, so it's been a few years, but it's on Netflix now, so I just watched it. And yeah, by all counts, he should have been caught. It would never have worked. In reality, that's what would have happened. But since this is a movie and we're rooting for the family to get away and stuff, they actually get away. They make it to Canada. I think that's where they were going. Yes. So before all that, also Russell Crowe gets so desperate for money that he goes and follows the criminals that originally robbed him for the money they had for the passport. He found out where their home base was, where he drops off all the money, and he robs them. He robs them blind and sets the place on fire. Yeah, and he just ends up killing the main bad guy there after a shootout that they had, and things just progress that way, and it just keeps spiraling. He finally gets his wife out. His wife is in the hospital. He breaks her out of the hospital. They escape. They're on the run. They go get their child, which is with Olivia Wilde. She plays a single mom who invites Russell Crowe and his son to her daughter's birthday party, which is at the zoo. Which Russell Crowe, if he would just read the pamphlet that the mother gave her, he would have figured this out, because he goes to the house instead of going to where the actual birthday party is taking place. So now he has to run and go forth and grab his kid. They barely escape, and it's just now at this point, after he breaks his wife out, it becomes run away from the cops and see how long we last. It's just one of those movies, like, you really don't need to pay attention to it. Don't try it. There's not much there. The the premise of it, everything that happens is just so loose with the plot that it just barely makes any coherent sense. The movie itself is very underwhelming. I was really disappointed with this film in general. I lost interest right away. I just kept watching it because I just wanted to just watch something I couldn't figure out what to watch. And thus, yeah, that's what this movie left me very underwhelmed. It was very bland. There was no real essence. Russell Crowe's character, he was doing a great job. He was really acting here. He was very emotional. He showed his range. He showed what he can do as an actor. But the movie itself, the plot, the writing, was just holding this movie back from anything. The writing, all the constant plot holes. Some person that knows how to write this type of genre better, like say the Ocean's 11 writers, those guys would have been in this, I think, a lot better. So yeah, if you just want something, if you want something that's background noise, this is great for you. If otherwise, this is a hard pass. So yeah, that's my review of the next 3 days on Netflix. And now for White Tiger.
When I first saw him, I knew then this was the master for me. I want to be a driver for your son.
Hey, how much rope?
Hey, don't do that.
Hey, driver!
I'm Pinky. Nice to meet you.
Balram, have you ever seen a computer?
We had many of them in the village with the goats.
The goats are pretty advanced to use computer.
Okay, now you're being a jerk.
I didn't like the way he had spoken about me. Since I was a boy, the desire to be a servant had been hammered into my skull. Balram Halwai, I drove the car. I was alone in the car. They made me sign that confession. They had plans. I had plans too. I would have to become the creature that gets born only once every generation.
The white tiger.
That's what I call myself these days. I'm just one who has woken up while the rest of you are still sleeping.
And that was parts from the trailer of White Tiger, a Netflix film. And yes, I will be going into spoilers right away. There will be no I'll be talking as little bit of spoilers as I can, but there will be spoilers. So if you have not seen this, please stop here and go watch the movie. I'll say this much: the movie is definitely well worth it. It's a bit long on the tooth, but it's still a very good movie to just go and watch. If you have any interest at all in the movie, I suggest you just go and watch it. And starring a bunch of Bollywood actors that I would not even try to pronounce their names. So this is an Indian movie, and it's one of the best Indian movies I have seen in a long time. At first, I thought it was Slumdog Millionaires type of thing, but it really is not. It's a lot. It's a lot better. Like for instance, here's the synopsis on IMDb. An ambitious Indian driver uses his wit and cunning to escape from poverty and rise to the top. An epic journey based on the New York Times bestseller. So this was a New York Times bestseller. I can see why. This is extremely well done. The screenplay is extremely well written. The actors are doing their absolute amazing work here, and I really would love to see more from all these actors. And do I am gonna seek out more of these some of these actors' films. Like the main star, he was amazing in this, and he was so believable. I truly did watching him work. So the movie starts with the actors in a car driving, and then they're about to hit a person, and it goes to black, and then the main guy, Baram, is the main lead, and he is all about him and his journey from child to how he was growing up as a child to how he became an adult, how he became a driver, and then at the ending how and then after all that he became a business owner, and this is total rise. Him narrating through the whole process and seeing his again journey up the ranks of society in India, and how the rich and the high class treat the poor and the lower class. Pretty much rags to riches. Uh, it's a class system. Seeing the journey about and his explanation and his just thought process through all this. I also found that by the time I hit the ending, I started chuckling to myself because technically he committed, well, not technically, he committed murder in the film, and he actually acknowledges that he committed murder. So technically, this is a confession letter that he's writing, because he's writing a letter to this Chinese bureaucrat that's coming to India, and how he's an entrepreneur and how he's this, and he's literally telling him his whole story in this giant email that he's sending to this gentleman to, I guess, try to win favor with him. And the funny thing is he does meet the bureaucrat towards the ending, but the bureaucrat is like, yeah, okay, bye. It is just interesting how it just takes it, and it's just because the bureaucrat is Chinese, and the funny thing is it could have been any other country, but I'm guessing that China probably helped fund this film, so that's why he was Chinese in some way, shape, or form. They had to make it Chinese. But it really could have been. It could have been a person from South Korea or place like that, up and coming country that's started blowing up, and I just see that as something very interesting considering the situation that we're in with China and everything right now. It paints a different light with the Chinese Communist Party and so forth, considering what they done to our planet right now and how we're stuck at home. So, but this is a great film. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I'll probably get canceled in China. But anyway, let's move on. Let's stay on topic here. And yes, this movie is extremely well done. It has people that have come up and become somebody, and individuals that try to be good even though they're not, and they try to be start off good and then end up becoming what the protagonist hates. And just this story is so well done. I'm sorry, but this is one of the best stories I've seen in a while. And I was hesitant to watch this, and I'm so glad that I actually no, because I just kept seeing this everywhere. White tiger, white tiger, white tiger. I'm like, okay, okay, I'll check it out. And I'm glad I did. It's such a good movie, and it's shot so well. You could tell the production value, everything that was done, everything about this film is truly a beauty. If you want to see great filmmaking, um, great acting, great storytelling, great narrative, I suggest you watch this. Last week I talked about Avatar and how it still holds up. This is one of those movies that 10 years from now, 12 years from now, 20 years from now, it's still gonna hold up. It's still gonna be. I think it's gonna become in cinema history because this is a topic that's never gone away, and it never. I don't think it ever will go away until humans get rid of our one flaw, which is greed. So yeah, this is gonna be around for a long time, and I just hope that more and more people get to watch this film and try to take what they can and learn something from it. And just like, yeah, our choices define us, is not where we grew up, is not how we grew up, not just our parents either. It's our friends. It's mostly the choices. You always have a choice. You can always go do this or go do that. You always have choice A, B, or C. Sometimes even choice D. But it's up to you to make the choice, the proper choice that you can better yourself. And especially for someone like myself, that's been the one of the hardest things in my life is making the proper choice to better myself or just being able to motivate myself to do more. I think this movie speaks so well to people like myself. Yeah, I really don't know what to say or what more to say about this film other than I really don't want to spoil anything. I've said a lot already about the film and what happens. I told you the ending and everything, but it's really well done. When you find the beauty in life, when you find something that you see, that's that's art. That's beautiful. That should inspire you to make something or do better. One of my favorite podcasts always says, "Leave the world a little bit better than you found it." You know, we should all aspire to be like that. Leave the world a little bit better than how we found it, and hopefully someday none of us will have to even think about those words. We just all do a little bit better. And yeah, I think that's why I'm gonna end this. And just I hope that everybody that hasn't watched this movie and it's listening to this has watched it. Is gonna go out and watch it now. Remember, you don't even have to go out. It's on Netflix. Just pop it on and watch it, or however you may watch it, depending on what country you're from. And thank you again for listening. My name is JL, and this has been the JL Plays. Please email me. Working on a JL Plays podcast at gmail.com. Okay, guys, thank you for listening. This will be, and hope to hear you all next week, or hope all of you hear me next week, I should say.